The theme for January has been intention, and today's service is called Without Hesitation. I'm glad that you could join us today. Welcome to the UU Fellowship of Ames, Iowa. My name is Kent McCusick, the minister serving this fellowship. My pronouns are he and him. Thanks for joining us this morning. Our board welcome this morning will be offered by Sarah Carlson. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Carlson and I serve on your fellowship board of directors. I want to thank you all for being here today and extend a special welcome to any visitors with us today. Do please stay on after the service for our virtual coffee hour, and in small breakout rooms we'll be talking, and there you can introduce yourself if you're comfortable and join in the conversation. If you'd like more information about the fellowship, please sign in on the virtual guest book found on our website, uufames.org, and you will find that under the visitors tab. The fellowship is monitoring the Story County COVID positive test rate via covidactnow.org. And if rates reach 15% or more, then our fellowship activities, all in-person activities, will immediately be transitioned to virtual only for at least the next 7 days. And this includes our Sunday services, religious education, and all other UUFA meetings and activities. The determination will be made every Wednesday at noon and shared at the UUFA website and via our Friday emails. As you know, the positive rate now is above 15% this week, and we are thankful that you've chosen to join us from your homes. We look forward to the time that we can gather in person again at the fellowship, and when that is possible, streaming services will continue to be offered. For now, please remember to check for virtual gatherings at the UUFA. So, on behalf of this caring, nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you to this sacred space. Here we invite you into an experience of transformation, hope, renewal, and connections, which may inspire you to understand life in new ways. Welcome.
Thank you, Sarah. We begin our service each week with the ringing of our chime 3 times. Once to wake the chime, once to open our minds, and once to open our hearts.
In the world of the driven, let us be drawn in. Let your love be a given, let us be drawn in. To imagine, to dream, to create, to redeem, for the sake of the living, let us be drawn in.
Our chalice lighting this morning is by Vanessa Williams. In igniting this chalice, we cast upon it our hopes and intentions for all that is positive in our minds and in our hearts. May this precious light shine on. Our opening music this morning is another beautiful piece composed by Elizabeth Alexander, which is an interpretation of the poetry of Heifetz as translated by Daniel Ladinsky. This is A Love Like That. I extend great thanks to Elizabeth Alexander, who provides her music to us with permission, free of charge. Thank you. Our time for all ages this morning is a story written and illustrated by Ashley Squires. This is The Most Magnificent Thing.
The Most Magnificent Thing. Written and illustrated by Ashley Spires. This is a regular girl and her best friend in the whole wide world. They do all kinds of things together. They race, they eat, they explore, they relax. She makes things. He unmakes things. One day, the girl has a wonderful idea. She is going to make the most magnificent thing. She knows just how it will look. She knows just how it will work. All she has to do is make it, and she makes things all the time. Easy peasy. First, she hires an assistant. Next, they gather their supplies. They set up somewhere out of the way and get to work. The girl tinkers and hammers and measures, while her assistant pounces and growls and chews. When she is finished, she steps back to admire her work. She walks around one side. Her assistant examines the other side. It doesn't look right. Her assistant picks it up and gives it a shake. It doesn't feel right either. They are shocked to discover that the thing isn't magnificent or good. It isn't even kind of sort of okay. It is all wrong. The girl tosses it aside and gives it another go. She smooths and wrenches and fiddles. Her assistant circles and tugs and wags. When she is finished, she stands up and takes a long look at it. Her assistant gives it a nudge with his paw. The thing is still wrong. She decides to try again. The girl saws and glues and adjusts. She stands and examines and stares. She twists and tweaks and fastens. She fixes and straightens and studies. She tries all different ways to make it better. She makes it square. She makes it round. She gives it legs. She adds antennae. She makes it fuzzy. She makes it long, short, rough, smooth, big, small. One even smells of stinky cheese. But none of them are magnificent. Her hard work attracts a few admirers, but they don't understand. They can't see the magnificent thing that she has in her mind. She gets mad. The angrier she gets, the faster she works. She smashes pieces into shapes. She jams parts together. She pummels the little bits in. Her hands feel too big to work, and her brain is too full of all the not right things. If only the thing would just work. Crunch! The pain starts in her finger. It rushes up to her brain, and she explodes. It is not her finest moment. I am no good at this. I quit. Her assistant suggests a walk. It's not much help at first. But before long, she starts to feel different. Bit by bit, the mad gets pushed out of her head. As they stroll along, she comes across the first wrong thing she made. The bad feelings are about to start all over again. Then she notices something surprising. There are some parts of the wrong things that are really quite right. The bolts on one, the shape of another, the wheel-to-seat ratio of the next. There are all sorts of parts that she likes. By the time she reaches the end of the trail, she finally knows how to make the thing magnificent. She gets to work. She works carefully and slowly, tinkering, hammering, twisting, fiddling, gluing, painting. Her assistant makes sure there are no distractions. This is the perfect thing to ward off bears. This will stop that leak. This one's all wet. The afternoon fades into evening. Finally, she finishes. She alerts her assistant. The pair take a good long look. It leans a little to the left, and it's a bit heavier than expected. The color could use a bit of work too, but it's just what she wanted. They climb aboard and take it for a spin. They are not disappointed. It really is the most magnificent thing.
The offertory recipient for January is the Mid-Iowa Community Action Food Pantry, also known as MICA. MICA is a nonprofit organization serving children and families living in poverty in central Iowa. MICA is part of the National Community Action Network that helps low-income people achieve self-sufficiency through better jobs, stable housing, and food and early childhood education. To learn more about MICA, please go to micaonline.org. This is the last week to support helping people in our community in need. So far this month, we've received $175, and I invite you to continue your generosity to support helping people and changing lives by going to our website at the end of the service, ufames.org, look for the Giving tab, and thank you for making your gift to support the work of MICA. The first reading this morning is by Amy Lloyd. It is called Intentions and Trust. The reader is Sarah Carlson.
Today, I want to greet joy without a trace of suspicion. I want to open my eyes to the light without a blink of dread. I want to look at my past without a whisper of shame. I want to look at my future without a hint of fear. Today, I want to dance without pausing to think. I want to belly laugh without caring who hears. I want to open my arms and twirl in the sun until I fall breathless, free to be myself, full of joy that I open to allow completely letting go. even without a smudge of suspicion or a wink of hesitation. That's my intention. It's what I want.
Each week we take time in our service to open the room to sharing, to invite you, if you feel so moved, to share a milestone, something significant in your life that is bringing you joy or challenge or gratitude. As I open the room to sharing, if you can raise your hand or let us know that you'd like to share a milestone, we will just give each other lots of space. When you're finished with your milestone, please let us know you're done, and remember to introduce yourself. With 61 people in the room, it's nice to know who is speaking. This is our time of sharing.
Hello, I'm Irv Kloss, and I'd like to light a candle, or 2 candles, one for each of my granddaughters who are having a birthday. They'll be 16. And Piper lives in Minneapolis, and she'll be 16 tomorrow. And Ellie lives in Des Moines, and she will be 16 on the 12th of February. Thank you.
This is Kay Berger. I would just like to share a thought from my friend Lisa, who sent me this plaque. And I think it's worth lighting a candle for Lisa for giving me this that came from her heart. This is the plaque, and I will read it. I will hang it on my wall. To the world, you may just be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. Thank you for letting me share.
Good morning. My name is Melody Griesdorn, and I have a painful milestone this week of 9 years since the death of my partner on February 2nd. So I would just love to honor that and to gather any love you have to give. Thank you.
For those milestones that have been shared, and for those challenges and joys that we carry silently in our hearts. Know that in this community of love and support, no one ever needs to make the journey alone. Whatever brought you here today, whatever you're carrying, no matter how difficult, no matter how joyful, you have the support of this community and you are loved. Let's be together in a moment of silence. The second reading this morning is by Donna Markova. The reading is called I Will Not Die an Unlived Life, and the reader is Ralph Gandy.
I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which comes to me as seed goes to the next as blossom, and that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit.
Our special music this morning is sung by the musicians of the First Unitarian Church of Oakland, California. This is hymn number 299, Make Channels for the Streams of Love. With the opening music this morning, A Love Like That, Elizabeth Alexander offers a beautiful invitation for each of us to reflect on the Sufi poet Haifet's philosophy of gratitude, openness, generosity of spirit, and joy, and how this philosophy informs our intentions. Even after all this time, the sun's intentional love for the earth never includes a debt of obligation. Intentions are not transactional. Intentions are an inner expression, intentions are an expression of the inner whispers of our souls, who we are authentically and how we move in the world. The sun will never say, "You owe me." The expression of a love like that can light up the whole sky without hesitation. With I Will Not Die, An Unlived Life, Donna Markova invites us to live in a way that risks our significance. Live in a way that risks our significance. This manner of living enacts our intentions as seeds that blossom into fruit and more life beyond the significance of this moment. Like the sun, this embodied love has the capacity to light the sky now and for future generations without saying, "You owe me." Donna describes her poem as a candle that my soul holds out to me, requesting that I find a way to remember what it is to live a life with passion, on purpose. When you have the courage to shape your life from the essence of who you are, you ignite and become truly alive. This requires a letting go of everything that is inauthentic. But how can you even know your truth unless you slow down in your own quiet company? When the inner walls to your soul are graffitied with advertisements, commercials, and the opinions of everyone who has ever known you and labeled you, turning inward requires nothing less than a major cleanup. In this sense, she asserts, we are totally free to live fully alive. Now, in this moment, free to define ourselves. We are what we choose to be. I don't mean free to have, I mean free to be. She continues, I know many among us who don't have sufficient nourishment, space, education, but I also remember how Nelson Mandela sang of freedom at the top of his lungs on a boat while being taken to prison. And I remember the Jamaican angel who swept the floors in a hospital and whispered words to me in the dark of the night that changed everything. You are more than your fear. We are more than our fear. We must have the courage to live in a way that risks our significance. Remember the girl in the Time for All Ages. Of the most magnificent thing, the Reverend Julie Stoneberg writes, on the surface, we can see her desire to create the most magnificent thing, like the first kind of intention, a specific goal or task that might get done or not. But what if her personal vision of right intention, the thing deepest and truest within her, is something like this? I see my life as a collection of things out of which I am called to make meaning. And meaning for me is found in the dogged insistence on creating that which brings joy and beauty to the world. To live in alignment with her values, then, is to take what is and from it to create. That is her life intention. We can't talk about intention without talking about the practice of it, because without doing it, it's empty. The girl in the story had to practice her intention, that act of creation, and she didn't always get it right. or perfect. And she got frustrated and discouraged, and yet she returns to the practice because her heart calls her back to it, back to her deepest intention. Again and again and again, eventually, hopefully, creating a habit of that intention so that it becomes natural and even automatic and brings joy. When we take the time to sit silently and hear our inner voice, we are more able to be full of a joy that we open. This joy fully allows us to go without a smudge of suspicion or a wink of hesitation. In this sense, setting intentions is not the same as setting goals. Spiritual teacher Philip Moffitt explains when he says, with goals, the future is always the focus. Are you going to reach that goal? Will you be happy when you do? What's next? Setting intention, at least according to Buddhist teachings, is quite different than goal making. It is not oriented towards a future outcome. Instead, it is a path or practice that is focused on how you are being in the present moment. Your attention is on the ever-present now in the constantly changing flow of life. You set your intention based on understanding what matters most to you and make a commitment to align your worldly actions with your inner values. Goals help you make your place in the world and be an effective person. But being grounded in intention is what provides integrity and unity in your life. What would it be like if you didn't measure the success of your life by just what you get and what you don't get, but gave equal or greater priority to how aligned you are with your deepest values? How are you being in the present moment? Where are you called to create meaning that brings joy to the world? How do your intentions align with your deepest values? Even after all this time, remember to make channels for the streams of love where they may broadly run. This kind of love will light the whole sky. May it be so for all of us. Amen, and blessed be. The closing song this morning is from the Gray Hymnal number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire, which is sung by Michael Tacey. The lyrics will be provided, so I invite you to sing at home.
Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift
we extinguish the chalice this morning with the words of Donna Markova. May you live a loved life. May you never diminish your mind or limit your heart. May you stand calm in a wide moment between sky that lifts you and gravity that grounds you. May you let loving unfurl you and then give it away. May you remember you are nest, harbor, garden. May you pass life forward so that which came from those before you and that which grows in those next to you go on to those who will follow you. Thank you for being with us this morning. And again, I thank you for your constant generosity to this fellowship and to the organizations and movements that are important for our community and for this fellowship. Our monthly recipient is Micah, but by going to uufames.org and looking for the Giving tab, you can also give to Black Lives Matter or our partner church. Thank you for being with us this morning. We'll go into breakout rooms for a little bit and then regather in the large room. Thanks again for being here. It's good to be with you.